Yeah, so when I was at NKU, I majored in political science, philosophy, economics, and criminal justice. And, I wouldn't say I so much as selected my majors as any time I had an idea of something else I might want to do, I just added a major. And each one kind of built on the last one, which was kind of really nice and neat. So I currently work at Coleraine Township, which is a small community just outside of the city of Cincinnati. We're about 58,000 people. I'm the assistant administrator there, and basically what that means is that Parks and Rec is my life. I'm teasing, of course. No, in that role, I do a lot of different things. So I directly oversee our roads, our parks, our HR, our planning, our community center, and then I work daily with our elected board and our various data and communications efforts. So every day is different. There's never a dull moment, and no 2 days are exactly the same. So I could walk in one day thinking that I'm going to be, talking through a new strategic plan for the community, and I could walk out having dealt with HR issues and, dogs in a park that are getting little burrs stuck in their paws. So I actually got into this field in kind of a unique way, I think. I was in a class at NKU called Urban Administration, and I mentioned the couple of different majors I had earlier. All of them seemed to coalesce and click at once. And so I dug in a little more and I did a reverse interview. So I interviewed the city manager for the city of Cincinnati at the time, Milton Dehoney, and one of the questions that really stuck out to me was I asked him what he didn't like about his job, and everything he said I thought I would really enjoy. And so that led me down the path to finding a career in local government. Yeah, no 2 days are the same in local government. And so, you could be dealing with flooding on a street and how you're going to mitigate that flooding issue, to onboarding a new hire and assimilating them with your internal culture. It really changes day by day. And even in some of the technical roles I've been in, so working in like a budget role, you may be dealing with numbers all day, but you're dealing with numbers for different projects. So that could be numbers around a new build of a building to numbers around buying pens and paper for a department. So a lot of variety, and it's a big picture variety and little picture variety. Definitely the most satisfying aspect is the fact that you get to make a difference and have an impact on people's lives that you get to see. I think as you go up the level with government into the higher levels, such as county, state, and federal, the impact may hit a lot more people, but you don't necessarily get to see it on a day in and day out basis. And so, here you're so localized that you get feedback from residents, whether you like it or not. And it really does help to show that you're making good things happen and you're helping people and you're helping to make sure that the people that work with you are able to help people as well. There's going to be a lot of change that's going to be hitting government. Luckily, I embrace the fact that the only thing that change, or the only constant, is change. So definitely going to be a lot more diversity in local government. I think we haven't seen enough female and minority individuals ascending the ranks, and there's a bigger push with local government leaders, including the International County Management Association, to help to ensure that can happen. There's going to be a bigger push for information. So right now, you may have questions about what your government does on a day in and day out basis, and it may take you 2 or 3 phone calls to get some of that info. And as things go on and progress, there's going to be a bigger push to get more of that online and at people's fingertips, so that when they have a thought, they can get what they need right then. And then probably the biggest thing is risk taking. Right now, government has traditionally been a little risk averse, and I think over the next 5 to 10 years, you're going to see more governments take calculated, smart risks to get better at what they do. Be successful, you've got to be a selfless person. And I mean that in a few different ways. So you've got to be willing to devote your own time, effort, and energy, even outside of the 40-hour work week, to ensure that you're making a difference in helping. So that's going to be showing up and volunteering. That's going to be putting in extra hours at home to get a project across the finish line. But then you also have to be selfless in the perspective that we're not here to win a bunch of awards. What we're here for is to help each other. And sometimes that means letting someone else take some of the credit for something that you did, or being willing to fall on a sword for something that you did wrong. Beyond selflessness, you've got to really be a savvy person on an interpersonal conversational basis to know how to navigate some of these tough conversations without stepping on a landmine. And so, national politics are certainly in everybody's face. And as a nonpartisan person, which a lot of us are in these roles, you have to know how to have those conversations around those big picture political issues without, offending someone, but with, in the same moment, in the same breath, providing factual information to help make an informed decision. So government is historically pretty bad at how they post jobs. There aren't a lot of centralized job posting areas for governments. There's a local place called Center for Local Government that posts a lot of jobs. There occasionally are jobs that pop up on Indeed. There are sites like govjobs.com and things like that. But the best way is, especially if there's a government that you really want to work for, is to keep a list and just keep checking that list on a weekly basis to see if something popped up that fits what you can do and what they need. And that's probably the best way to find the job. I thought it was going to be fun, but I didn't think it was going to be this much fun. And so if I'd have known it was this much fun, I probably would have gotten into this career even sooner and faster. And, I hope that people who are listening to this hear the energy that I have, because it's just crazy some of the neat things that you get involved with very quickly and the impact that you can have. And so if you're on the fence about jumping into this field, I 110% recommend it, because it is a lot of fun. Two things that I think are important. One is to, potentially take a job where you can be a small fish in a big pond, because it'll provide you with opportunities to grow and to test your skills in a lot of different ways. And then the other advice would be to really look at your own skill sets and things that you've done, and how they can translate to the job that you're applying for. Just because you've not had any direct experience in local government doesn't mean that you don't have any relevant experience. So, if you're working, say, as a restaurant manager or working in a restaurant as a server, that doesn't necessarily sound like local government work, but daily I get calls from residents who are upset because something that they thought was going to go right didn't. So maybe they thought a pothole was going to get filled and it didn't. And, when you're in a restaurant and your order comes out and it's not exactly right, people usually aren't, happy with you. And so you can learn a lot from those situations and those moments about customer service, and that's a transferable skill. And I would argue that just about any job you can find those transferable skills if you search hard enough. I would tell NKU students now to intern as much as they can, because they may think that a job is right for them, and then when they intern, they may find out that it's not. And it's better to figure that out while you're still searching, rather than when you're 2 years into a career. And one of the other things that I tell a lot of students is get involved in student organizations, whether that's a academic group or a Greek chapter or a professional society, because as you're in those groups, you have an opportunity to try out your own leadership style. And if you screw up in a student group by putting on a program that doesn't go well, you could probably learn a heck of a lot more from the failures in that than you will if you screw up on the job. So it's a nice little test kitchen for you, and a great opportunity to really figure out what you're good at and what type of leader you'll be someday.